I tell my story and I leave people saying that they did cry. To me, it has become a normal thing. But I say my story and people will say, yeah, Major, you made us cry. I'm like, I was born by 2 school-going children. My late father was 16 and my mother was 14. And I became a mother at 18. And at that time, it felt like the world was crumbling. It felt like the world had already decided my fate and my future and how it would look like.
But, I've grown up in a society where people believe that when you are ideally called young, you must relax, wait before you start to build or start to give opinions about what you believe in, before you start to build, these big initiatives and ideas, right? But I've also come to understand that at the end of the day, like you said, the question should be, what do you want to be remembered for? How do you want people to remember the kind of struggles you've gone through and how they've been able to build, shape you, as a person.
Yeah. You know how people can feel like you have lost your future? Why are you getting pregnant at 18? Like, who does that? You should be going to university. It took me 8 years to join university again. Wow. Your journey or your story is not something to hide. It is something that explains why you care so deeply about what you intend or what you are doing. Let there be authenticity in whatever you're doing because it is your story. It is what explains who you really are. So the fact that you stand up, raise your voice and use it, you don't know how many other people you'll be empowering.
We may be forced to overshare, and sometimes we are forced to undershare because we're trying to protect that brand perception. How have you been able to draw the line between the two?
I must tell the listeners, the viewers, and young people or people that are venturing into starting brands that people trust leaders who are human.
Yes. Yeah.
So there is no oversharing. How would you want someone to know about you? How would you want someone to share or even protect the brand that you're building? So let them know that you are a human being. You have your you have your
flaws,
you have your happy moments, you have had those hiccups in life, so that someone can also know how best to support you.
Oh, I like that. I know there are so many people who would be far, would have gotten a lot of support, but they are not able to because nobody knows what your story is. Nobody knows what you're going through. According to what people look at, according to what people perceive you as, they think everything is okay. Kumbe, you're there and you require sponsors for your podcast. But where you look like, everything is okay.
Yeah,
but it's because you're not able to share that, listen, I would require this or I need this to be able to push that.
Yeah.
But also that concept of being a human.
One thing that I do every Saturday, at least I have a goal of doing 15 kilometers.
Yeah.
If you find me walking in rain or playing in mud, please do not begin reminding me of
Kati oli CEO.
Nchimanyi. Nchimanyi mukwano era nchitegeeza.
Welcome to Young and Branded with your host, Hannah Arinitwe, here where we talk about all things creativity, purpose, and owning your brand as a young person. This episode is a very, very special episode. I feel these days we're giving you special episodes. I mean, last time we had Bonnie Chivuka streaming all the way from the USA, known for his award-winning brand, the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. And today we decided to take it a notch higher by collaborating with one of the amazing podcasts, Ikara na CEO with Marjorine.
Angella, Majorine.
Welcome to the show, Majorine. Oh my God. We are so excited for us to be here. We've been planning this for a long time. I mean, we met last year in December.
Around November.
November.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about this is that both Marjorie and I launched our podcast on the same day, the 16th of August, 2025.
Yeah.
I will never forget that day. Something special happened for me. I mean, something special happened for us.
It
as
is
well.
my birthday.
It is your birthday, first of all.
16th of August is my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I chose to do it in memory of my late father who passed away in February.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe before getting to the podcast, I just want you to introduce yourself to my audience. Like, who are you? What do you do? And, what are some of the things you believe in?
Aside of me being Atura Angella Majorine, I have so many other titles that people may be seeing online. I am a founder, I'm a CEO, I'm an advocate, and I'm a woman who has been shaped by real life experiences. I'm an introvert.
Okay.
Though many people think I am not an introvert, but I'm an introvert in my own way. And I'm also a mother that gave birth in my teenage years at 18.
Yeah.
I'm a community builder. I'm someone who believes in deeply turning pain into purpose.
Pain into purpose.
Yeah.
And I love that because that is the topic of today's conversation, from pain to purpose, and building your brand along the way. You said you are CEO and founder. Can you tell us which particular, founder of, CEO of, because some people could be watching and like, oh my God, how is this girl handling all of this?
Hey, by the way, I'm also a student.
You're also a student?
Yeah.
Girl, superwoman. And in a month of women, match.
So I am a student at Makerere University Business School. I'm in my third year. This is my last semester. I am the founder and CEO of Genja Women Foundation, Safegirl Initiative, and now Ikara na CEO.
Now, I just want to get us straight into the conversation because I know our time is quite short for today.
Yeah.
But I know your story. I've heard your story. I've watched your podcast, but somebody here hasn't had the opportunity to. So we want to find out what is the story behind all these companies and businesses you have. What is the story behind that?
Well, my story begins way back from my parents. I was born by two school-going children. My late father was 16 and my mother was 14. And I became a mother at 18. And at that time, it felt like the world was crumbling. It felt like the world had already decided my fate and my future and how it would look like. I would say there was a lot of judgment. Your parents being young and you also being pregnant when you're young, you know how the world can always judge, right? But many people didn't see it as the way I see that me becoming a mother actually at that age gave me a deeper sense of responsibility and understanding and shaping me into the woman that I am today.
Definitely. I really want to find out what are some of those misunderstandings that people had about you, misconceptions people had about you back then. Because I really want to understand the pain.
Okay. In an African setting, I think it is believed that when a girl gives birth or when she becomes pregnant, that is the end for this person. Why would you ever come out of that tunnel? How?
You shouldn't come out.
No one expects you to come out of that thing. I believe you dug it yourself, so you should be there. But for me, instead of that breaking me, it forced me to ask myself a different question. The question was, what kind of future do I want my kid or my child to see me in? How would I want my child to grow up knowing me, not my past story, not the story of my parents, but me? And that is something that I used to build the resilience that I'm still standing on today.
Definitely. I kind of relate with the whole conversation of misconceptions and misunderstandings. Of course, I can't say mine equates to what you went through, but, I've grown up in a society where people believe that when you are ideally called young, you must relax, wait, before you start to build or start to give opinions about what you believe in, before you start to build, these big initiatives and ideas, right? But I've also come to understand that at the end of the day, like you said, the question should be, what do you want to be remembered for? How do you want people to remember the kind of struggles you've gone through and how they've been able to build
Shape you.
and shape you,
As a person.
as a person.
Yeah.
So at what point did you say, listen, I can't be wallowing in this pity. I need to start standing out. I need to start building my name and my brand?
I think, given my story,
Yeah.
that I have shared countless times, people assumed that my story was a story of failure.
Yeah.
I don't know whether there's anyone outside there who has been viewed as a failure already.
So many.
Even before you set out to unleash who you really are, it feels like, onotaina jalaga. And I sometimes sit and think that people around me did not understand. Or maybe they did and I didn't understand. You know how people can feel like you have lost your future? Why are you getting pregnant at 18? Like, who does that? You should be going to university. It took me 8 years to join university again. Wow. But in those 8 years, I had already built the Genja Women Foundation and the Safegirl Initiative. And guess what? I am in my 3rd year.
Finishing up.
Can you imagine? I don't know.
Have you ever felt any pressure to turn down your real story for optics? Because I know you are now in spaces that are really empowering and supporting women. Have you ever felt like, man, if I'm to keep my brand and how people look at me and perceive me, I should not be sharing my story. I should just share with them like a small thing of, Nali, I was suffering. Now I am in victory. But you don't want to go into deep details of what the suffering was.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that pressure to tone down your story just to keep your brand?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say yes. Because there are moments when people advise you to represent yourself in a polished version.
Of course.
Because you're a leader. I am a leader. But over time, I've realized it is this story that has pushed me from where I was, the naive girl that I was, to where I am today, to standing to podiums that people wish to stand at. So if I keep quiet, if I let the story of mine keep inside, when would the world ever get to know it?
It will never know.
Who will know that there's a Atura Angella Majorine? But now, even if you go on a Google search and just type in Atura Angella Majorine, the first thing that we'll see, a young girl who gave birth at 18 and has started ABC.
Can you talk to somebody that is watching right now and they feel like what they have gone through and their story is so shameful that they can't build off it to become someone?
Okay. Young girl or young man outside there, your journey or your story is not something to hide. It is something that explains why you care so deeply about what you intend or what you are doing. Let there be authenticity in whatever you're doing because it is your story. It is what explains who you really are. So the fact that you stand up, raise your voice and use it, you don't know how many other people you'll be empowering from that sneak bit of your story. So say it. I'm not ashamed to tell people that, I had a child when I was 18. I'm not ashamed to tell people that, yes, I went to university after 8 years of me completing Form 6. But if you met me outside there, would you know that no. So it is, I know it, and maybe the people that have known me
and had your story.
Yeah, But if you don't know me, you cannot judge me for what you do.
Exactly. You know what they say, your brand speaks before you do. And that is why we trust Dzyn app for all your digital branding needs. Now, if you are ready to level up, check them out at dzynapp.com for a clean, bold, and creative look. This episode is proudly sponsored by Dzyn app. In branding, there is something we call brand perception. How people perceive your brand. For example, how we perceive brands like, let's say, Mirinda. You know, when you look at Mirinda, the first thing that comes to your mind is fun, right? How can a young leader that is watching know what to share and not what to share because of their brand perception?
Because of their brand perception.
Because sometimes we may be forced to overshare, and sometimes we are forced to undershare because we're trying to protect that brand perception. How have you been able to draw the line between the two?
I must tell the listeners, the viewers, and young people or people that are venturing into starting brands that people trust leaders who are human.
Yes. Yeah.
So there is no oversharing. How would you want someone to know about you? How would you want someone to share or even protect the brand that you're building? So let them know that you are a human being. You have your you have your flaws, you have your happy moments, you have had those hiccups in life, so that someone can also know how best to support you.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I know there are so many people who would be far, would have gotten a lot of support, but they are not able to because nobody knows what your story is. Nobody knows what you're going through. According to what people look at, according to what people perceive you as, they think everything is okay. Kumbe, you're there and you require sponsors for your podcast. But when you look like everything is okay.
Yeah,
but it's because you're not able to share that, listen, I would require this or I need this to be able to push that.
Yeah.
But also that concept of being a human. I think we sometimes forget it, especially for those who are founders, CEOs, and leaders. We want to have that stoic kind of brand. I remember the first time when I was in campus and I was still trying to build my brand as a journalist. And then one day I posted a TikTok on my page and I was doing a challenge. But back then it was about what challenge? Over this one of falling down. So I was like, you know, let me post this. And somebody said, Hannah, how can you?
Oh.
The whole of you.
Oh.
How can you jump on me?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, even before we push these brands, like I said, we are human. We have personality traits of who we really are, even before we come out to represent these brands that you know. So, me, Atura, Angella, Majorine, I will not stop being maybe the cheeky, the stubborn one, because munanga ate entaisitati Genja Women Foundation. I know, yes, I run an NGO that supports women and girls into economic empowerment, education, and so much. And when you meet me outside there speaking my English, you'll be like, oh my God, mukwano nsanga ako muchalo.
Nga you're digging your beans and flour and whatever.
I know. Because that still makes who I am as a person.
Definitely.
And maybe that is my way of covering up for my pain. That is me healing. When I am outside there dancing, running in rain, I love walking. One thing that I do every Saturday, at least I have a goal of doing 15 kilometers.
Yeah.
If you find me walking in rain or playing in mud, please do not begin reminding me of
Kati oli CEO.
Nchimanyi. Nchimanyi mukwano era nchitegeeza.
Let's talk about building confidence. So many brands become brands because of that characteristic of confidence. And I think because of your kind of story, I do understand that rebuilding the confidence you had before what you went through was not an easy journey and an easy walk. How did you slowly start to rebuild your confidence?
Guys, At the beginning, I also struggled myself. I struggled. Have you ever walked into rooms where people have titles, they have degrees, they have years of experience? And then I used to call myself a school dropout.
Whoa. Okay. You'd voluntarily walk around saying you are a school dropout.
I was a school dropout.
You are, but you are voluntarily saying it.
But I was. The truth was that I was a school dropout.
I know.
After Form 6, I didn't continue.
I know.
And you're in rooms where people have degrees, masters, they have titles. They'll be like, oh my God, this is so and so. Oh my. And you're like, in my small self, I'm like, who am I? Mpozi. So the only thing I had was my name, Athura Angella Majorine. And then together with my team, we had to go back and make sure that mwe bwetubeera serious kino ekintu nno kisobola okukwatayo because you'd reach and they'd be like, oh my God, this is the team from Genja Women Foundation, and people are like, oh, no. And you're like, oh, it is us, it is me. And then that made me build confidence. I'll tell you a time, the first launch I did for Genja Women Foundation, I think that was in 2018 or something. And we had the guest of honor being Frank Gashumba.
Okay.
I printed out 5 t-shirts that I was selling at 200,000.
Girl.
Each. The goal was to raise 1 million shillings. I didn't know whether it would be possible that we would raise that money. But we printed the 5 t-shirts, and I can assure you, Han, people gave us more than 1 million shillings on that day out of the 5 shirts. So it is not about what you're thinking. Stop from just thinking, believe, walk it, feel it, understand it.
Do it.
Do it. Because if you don't do it, no one will know. Yeah.
5 t-shirts, 200,000 each.
Yeah.
And you're able to raise more than just the target.
That is, I went there and I'm telling myself, oh, baba na agula, bagule. And guess what? You know, another thing that I've also realized, when we were starting, people would just buy things from us because of the story. Hanamia,
yes.
I tell my story and I leave people saying that they did cry. To me, it has become a normal thing. But I say my story and people will say, Majo, you made us cry. I'm like, okay.
And that is why I always say that it's important for you to add and create a merge between your story and who you are and what you're trying to build, because people relate with humans. People relate with people.
Yeah.
And one way or the other, I feel more encouraged to support or to even try to understand what you're doing because of your story. And that is why storytelling is important. All those people who know me know that I am always saying, document your story, document what you're doing, because it's part of building your brand.
True.
And people will always look out for you and call you out because they know that your story comes along with you.
It is you. You cannot separate who you are from your story, guys. I mean, kale tetuganye. We might have the worst stories ever. How even would I be able to share this? But it is from pain that we build our purpose.
I love that. It is with pain that you build your purpose.
Yeah.
Wait, have you subscribed to the Young and Married podcast? You have? Oh, thank you so much. Wait, you haven't? Please do it right now. Tap on that notifications bell, subscribe, like, leave a comment. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, we have a game called Young and Branded, but where you get to rate out of 10 these statements I'm going to share, right? Number 1, are you ready?
I am ready.
You're young and branded, but you refuse to let your past define you. 10 over 10.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, why would my past define me? It is the past. I am moving forward.
That's a key for the song Genda Maso right now. Number 2, they are young and branded, but they tell everyone else to be authentic while hiding the chapter that built them.
We have just said, do not hide. For me, whoever will meet me 5 years from now, 3 years from now, will still know that I am that young girl who gave birth in my teen years. It does not define. My girl has grown. I am also.
Hey, number 3. They are young and branded, but their vulnerability built deeper trust than perfection could ever.
10.
Yeah. Girl, you got so many 10s. Why do you think so?
My past
vulnerability versus perfection
gave me the way forward to move ahead. I sometimes sit back and I'm like, if I had not given birth then, I would not be the person that you're seeing here today. Probably I would not even be here sitting with young and brand.
You wouldn't be a CEO and a founder.
I had very far dreams. Let me tell you a simple snippet. I had planned that after my Form 6, I go abroad and work.
Hey.
And there's that one uncle of mine, elder brother to my dad, whom I went to his home and told him to support me go to Dubai. And he told me, Majo, no, you don't need to go abroad to make it in life. Well, you can start here. At that point, I was not understanding. That man gave me 1,000 shillings. Nusulukum. Ngomuntu mugami njagala genda Dubai.
Nagana.
Yampa nusulukumi nasimbule motoka ye. So that built resilience in me. So the first time I was on my first flight, he calls and asks, how does it feel to be on a flight going on a vacation and not for work?
Woo! Clack it. I love that. They are young and branded, but they only post wins and never losses.
Guys,
out of 10?
Out of 10, I think there are people that do it, but me, I don't. I also post about my losses. I will give it. For me, on my personal basis, or for the others?
For you, best of you.
1 being the least or 10 being the highest.
Yes.
I want to give it a 1 because I do post mine. I'll tell you.
Only?
Yeah. There's a time around 2019 where a random number called us to produce 1,000 kits. It was reusable parts that we make. It was one of our biggest orders. I tell my team, we didn't even have space. We didn't have electricity. We had to move machines from where we were to a different space. We slept the whole night working.
Yeah.
At around 6, I called this lady and I'm like, hey, we have been able to produce 860, but because of electricity, we're not able to make 1,000. You know what the lady said?
What did she say?
I don't work with incompetent Ugandans. The people, my team members I was working with, saw my phone fall and tears running down. And they asked what is wrong. I just told them, guys, everything down. Let's go and sleep.
Were they from a different country?
They are Ugandans. I later got to know them because I have, and I don't know whether it is called intuition.
Yeah, intuition.
I can find. So I met this lady at a certain event and I went to her and I told her, I think you are the one that called me incompetent.
No way!
Yeah. And she took me aside and apologized. And guess what? Still, the pads were taken by another at a mall. So who won?
You! They are young and branded, but they rebrand every time the algorithm shifts. They rebrand. They keep changing every time.
One.
I
don't change.
Does it need an explanation, that one? I feel like it's obvious.
It has been Genja Women Foundation from way back. It will still be Genja Women Foundation. It will be Ikara na CEO even when I am no longer able to.
Finally, they are young and branded, but they turned their trauma into a testimony.
I know, that's a 10. That is
10.
me, guys.
Yeah.
I turned my pain into a testimony. I use it to empower another person outside there, be it girl or man. It does not stop at where you thought it would stop. No one has the timetable. No one has the time. It is only God that has it.
Yeah.
And I always say that it was meant to be. Even if I would have run, I could still have ended up where I am. Yeah,
definitely. Now, before we can say bye-bye to you, we have this thing where we talk about how you are still learning. I'm young and branded, but I'm
I am
still
still
learning
learning.
that. What are you still learning today?
I am young and branded, but I'm still learning to slow down.
Oof. Oof. Uh-huh.
Because I am a very fast person.
I can relate. Lucky.
That when I want to do something, even if it is rain, sunshine, thunderstorms, I will do it. It might even come out very imperfect.
You'll do it.
I will do it, and later I'll be like, Kale, I should have done it this way. So
Yeah.
I am young and branded, but still learning. Slow down.
Slow down. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today, Marjorie. It's been lovely, collaborating you from part 1. There is part 1 of our conversation on her channel, and this is now currently part 2. But also learning from you that your story and the pain that you may be going through, or the pain that you have gone through, can be used as your purpose to build whatever it is that you want to build. I'll see you again next month. Do not forget to leave a comment, to like, to share, and to subscribe. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.